500 years. So the Magen Avraham is one of the greatest rabbis we have, the greatest of the Achronim. He says, I don't know why we're not doing this mitzvah from the Torah, from this week's parsha. And what mitzvah is it? So we have the beginning of the menorah and the beginning of the parsha. So that's all the mitzvahs of Mikdash Halavai will be doing soon. Then you have the Ananim when they traveled in the Midbar, but that was just then that they traveled based on the clouds. You know, certain mitzvahs, certain things they had were just that man, how to collect your daily man. That was then, not now. Looking up at the snake on the staff, that was then. But in the middle of the we also have another discussion about in the times of war, what should you do? In the time of war, you think we should pull out everything, all the tricks in the hat. No mitzvah should be left unturned. Every shul around the world, learning extra. Hashem, a lot of stuff that knows. So we are in such a pathetic state that at least let's pull out everything. And what is a mitzvah? Kishem shemit anim, when you fast. This is Shulchan Aruch writing. Because you might say, okay, it's a pasuk, and maybe it's only in the Mikdash, and that we blow the chatzos roast during war. Shulchan Aruch. Kishem shemit anim umatriim al geshamim, just like you go ahead and fast umatriim. Trua. What's trua? You blow. So too, you go ahead and do this for other tsaros as well. If Goyim come to make a war against us, take land from us, or they try to take away a mitzvah. Mitzani matriin, we have to fast and matriin trua ad shirachamu. That's pretty serious, and that's every one of us in Israel. Probably Chutz La'aretz also. The Jews are in trouble. They're also, we're all in trouble. These are not good times, and so we should all be doing this. So the Mishnah quote. Mitzvah say minator is okul avim chatzosa kotzva shlo taval tziba. The Rambam writes it's a mitzvah say one of 613 mitzvahs to blow. Cry out to Hashem ularia b'chatzos roast. And blow the trumpets on every saloma. Kodva sheyetz alachem kagom batzoros v'deva arbek yotze bazeh. Zakrelen, any time of challenge. Zakru, cry out to Hashem and blow. And that's how we do tshuva, because hopefully, and we go ahead, and when you have this tragedy, you blow, it's going to push us, stir us to do tshuva. And maybe that's going to take away. And the Rabbanan mitzvah is to fluid Hashemayim. So you have crying out and blowing. Biblical mitzvah we have today is anytime you're crying out, that's a biblical mitzvah. And when we blow, that's a biblical mitzvah. The Rabbanan is to fast. The time of my says wonders. Lami and I don't know. Why are we doing this? Why do we do this today? We are feeling mitzvah. Why are we doing this? He says, I don't know. Am I going to run? I don't know. So the Mishnah takes a stab at it. No. As it says in the pasuk that when they come in, so Magen Avraham and Chafetz Chaim, where they live, Oh, so maybe it's only when the world is here in our homeland. Well, it is. So that's not an answer. It's going to help us out. Okay. What? In the middle of the war, we should blow every day. We say Tehillim every day. In that direction, yeah. Maybe. Ooh, so now guess what? Good. V'yesh katvu. Maybe it's only when you have Jewish sovereignty. So it has to be in Israel with Jewish sovereignty. So we have Jewish sovereignty today or not. It's an interesting debate. It's not religious sovereignty. Is it sovereignty? Is it Joe Biden's sovereignty? It's a sad, pathetic joke. So the war that we're running over here now, where they're just destroying the whole North, and we just pick off a Hezbollah member, that is not a war. That's sickness. Am I saying, oh, Bibi, if I was in charge, I would do different? I don't know. I don't know all the pressure Bibi has. I'm not blaming him, but we have a sick situation. Not normal. No other country. Mexico just keeps lobbing another town in Texas every day. Just try to hit a little house in Texas, in Mexico. It's just sick. So is this sovereignty? It's a good question. But either way, he says, Davkish gave us a Korov Yisrael. Maybe only when the Gzeras are on Rov Yisrael. Then mitzvah say let's go. So it's Rov. So now we have 7 million. We're not Rov. Or maybe you could say because 7 million here we are. The decree is against all of us. This war is against every one of us here. There's no shy. And it's Jews again in the whole world. So you could even argue to even have that. So what svara do we have over here to be lenient? It's in Israel. We have sovereignty of some degree here. The decree is against majority of the Jews. So then other posts can try to make some sense of this, and they say that that originally the tkiyas were meant to be instituted at the end of. They used to add in during the fast days. They had 24 brachas for an essay, 6 extra brachas. That's what they used to blow, and we don't have those brachos anymore. And that was a place to blow. That's where we don't do it. Some want to say the mitzvah is by chatzotzros, the trumpets, and we don't really have that. Some say, no, you could do shofar as well. And some say if it's a chatzotzros, the Machon HaMikdash made the chatzotzros, we have the trumpets, so why not use those? Bottom line is one of those cases where the question is stronger than what? Than all the answers. Like an Avram says 300-400 years ago, I don't know why we're not doing this. And everyone tries to defend it, why we don't do it. Not in Eretz Israel. We're in Eretz Israel. We don't have proper authority. It's not against everyone. We don't have the chatzos. So they try to give different answers, and those answers try to make sense of the minhag. But if yesterday in Beracha they're blowing, what they're doing is, what you might just think is some like Nachmad thing. It's a mitzvah d'oraisa of blowing. What they're holding is you don't dafka need chatzos. Shofar is fine as well, like those many shittas maintain. And you are fulfilling, and what you did Beracha is fulfilling a mitzvahs asay min haTorah. Isn't that fascinating? So it's great timing. I mentioned because there's a fascinating halacha which is not doing. Many are not, but some are, thank God. And if you ever go ahead and you get to another minyan and you hear it, so the reaction might be before this year, like, it's interesting, what are they doing? Now it's, wow, they got it right. The question is, in all the other shows, what are we doing? Why am I not having or this morning did we blow? Why did Aish code this ball? Why, of course, this build over there they did? The question is on everyone else. And we have our answers and have a minhag. It's not to because of all these different, not such amazing answers, but that's minhag Yisrael. Yes, but if Allah is Allah, if the times of war, this is the mitzvah, this is the mitzvah. If it takes away, it takes away. That's it. What? So, if I'm not mistaken, sometimes they have a gathering by the hotel, and there might be some shofar blowing that goes on there. And by the way, one of the most famous pictures, the famous 1967 picture, the iconic pictures of three Chaylim, right? I always feel bad for two Chaylim right behind those three. Like, what do we chop liver? Anyways, so that's the famous, most famous. But there's another one of Rav Goren doing what at the hotel when he captured? Because this pasuk says at times of war and at times of victory. My guess, if Rav Goren was around, he would be blowing the shofar right now, or making chatzosos or borrowing from the temple. That's my guess that he would do, because Rav Goren, where he just did whatever he saw fit to do according to Torah mitzvahs. What? Yeah, that is unfortunately maybe the science, because we're not really involved in the other kind of tshuva and having following the mitzvahs, following the laws of war according to halacha, instead of following some kind of Western ethics war, who knows what. Anyways, that's halacha number one I thought I'd mention for the day. Okay, and it's from our parsha. I figured two from the price of one. Okay, a little parsha and halacha, but we have plenty of other things to discuss on Thursday as well. Halacha number two. So I felt a total disconnect from reality yesterday. We had a tiul shnati, the yearly trip for our school, like in a boat, and it was not all the way north. Normally, eighth grade trip was in Kiryat Shmona, which doesn't really exist anymore as a livable town, tragically. So we couldn't be there, obviously. But we went as far north as the Kinneret. A lot of, when we sent that last week that the 6th, 7th, 8th grade, we're going to Kinneret, a lot of parents were like, huh? But we go by Mishachino. Every single trip in Israel, you go ahead and meet a pakach from Mishrad Chinuch who's in charge of this, and he will stop you and ask for all your papers. Everything was checked out or not. And if not, unbelievable, they close the school down. Oh, no. It's serious stuff. It's very, very serious stuff. They'll be in the middle of nowhere and check. Do you have a paper that shows his bus stop was checked recently? To the last detail. And 10 years ago, when some school went through Mishpach Chinuch and the flash flood, that's it. Mishpach Chinuch never would have approved that. But it wasn't on Mishpach Chinuch, the school. They did what they wanted, and tragedy of tragedies. So Mishpach Chinuch is very impressive in this way. And let's say you're on a trail and it ends up, there's like a water that you're hoping to dip in, and it's all a girls' school is there. They're all dressed like it's the beach there. And you want to go and do a different trail. You call Matzav, the Cheder Matzav, the situation room, from Mishpach Chinuch, and they say, okay, we're allowed to take this trail instead of that trail. Ad Kedei Kach. That's how serious it is. It's very impressive. It's very, very impressive. Okay. I'm talking about all the bad stuff going on in Israel these days, and the government, you got to talk about some nice stuff too. Okay. So they approved. So we told all the parents, this is it. We go by Mishpach Chinuch, and if they say we could go, then they based on the situation. They said, okay, that was on Wednesday they approved, but what about Sunday, Monday? Yeah, we're up to the last minute. If they say no, fine. And they didn't change it, and everything went fine. So it was a total disconnect from reality. We're going these water streams, and it's like Gan Eden. It's gorgeous. And then we go to the Kinneret. It's gorgeous, so beautiful. Rav Balanei staving mincha overlooking the Kinneret. It's just a dream. Then you go to Aquakef, where there's like a whole sort of amusement park in the water, and everyone's jumping in the water, pushing each other in the water, climbing up these things, jumping 15 feet up. It was just beautiful. Like, who would ever know, like, just a few miles up north, horror. And down south, powers all over the place. But that's the life of a Jew. We have the simcha, we have the challenges all at once. Anyway, so when you see the Kinneret, do you make a bracha? What do you say? Mm-hmm. Yes? What bracha do you make when you see the Kinneret? Why would you? Good question. What? So what bracha? And when I mean bracha, I mean Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Olam, whatever the next few words would be. I mean a bracha. So you make a bracha when you go to the Mediterranean. What bracha? What? So says Hayam Gadol, we make a bracha on Yam Gadol. Some say that's the bracha, that's the Shulchan Aruch. We're going to learn in a moment that some argue. And what about making a bracha on the Kinneret? What to make a bracha on Yam HaMelech, the Dead Sea? What? We should have had shir before you went. Okay, but luckily you're all right now making. We'll see why. They don't need to make a bracha on the Mediterranean. You do. We'll see which bracha. And on the Kinneret, let's just one bracha. Okay. Now we're going back to the second volume of the Mishnah Berurah in Reish Chav Ches. Listen to this halacha here. He brings down, and this, of course, is straight from the Gemara in Brachos Nun Daled, where it talks about what? Brachos of certain things that you see. And then if you haven't been for 30 days, you make a new bracha. And he writes, Al Yamim Unaharot, on Yamim, big bodies of water. I don't know what word to use yet. Naharot are rivers. Harim Ugvaot Umidbarot, mountains. And Gavaot is like a smaller mountain. Midbarot, on the Midbar, desert. Omer Baruch Hashem Elokeinu Melech Olam Oseh Maseh. We all know Oseh Maseh gracious when we do what? When we see lightning. Here it's introduced on all Yamim, big bodies of water. We're not sure what that means yet. Naharot, rivers, and mountains. And Midbar, 5 things. Yamim, Naharot, Harim, Gvaot, and Midbarot. 5. We'll see about that. See that the Dead Sea should fit into this. And you should say Osa Masa Bracious. Osa Masa Bracious. That's the Gemara in Brachos. And then he goes on. Val Hayam Hagadol. Now on the Yam Hagadol. Now what's the Yam Hagadol? So does that mean the ocean? Or does that mean the Mediterranean? The ocean. How good are we with the ocean? How did we do in geography 50 years ago? Atlantic Ocean? Pacific? Indian? Arctic? So there's 4 oceans. And I failed geography, I don't have to answer anything. But what about you guys? Anyone pass over here? Antarctic's an ocean? That's 5? 5, okay. Someone will Google and check it out if it's 4 or 5. Either way. So where do Yamim fit in? Is that Yam HaGadol? But now he tells you. He says on the Yam HaGadol you say Ose HaYam HaGadol, which you mentioned. But he tells us what Yam HaGadol means. He says, who? What is Yam HaGadol? Hayam she'ovrim bo le'eretz Yisrael u'le'Mitzrayim. The Yam, where you go, Eretz Yisrael and Mitzrayim. Obviously, he's not talking about the Atlantic Ocean. He's talking about what? Mediterranean. Wow. That's interesting. So he's paskening. Now we have 2 different offers here. You have 5 different places. Yam, Nahar, Harim, big mountains, Gvahot is smaller, Midbarot. On those 5, you say Osa Masa Bracious. And then there's 1 Yam that's so special, you say what? Osa Yam HaGadol. Okay? And that's Mediterranean. You say Yam HaGadol. Mediterranean is a bit of a joke, size-wise, compared to the 4 or 5 oceans, which you'll let me know how many there are. Okay? So it's a joke. So when you Yam HaGadol, it's a sliver compared to the oceans of the world. 100, 1,000, I have no idea what size. It's nothing. So beautiful shkafa and halacha idea. I can't read the Mishnah. I don't want to take away your joy. Figure out yourself. Yam HaGadol. Yam HaGadol. Why do we call the Mediterranean Yam HaGadol when it is not Gadol? Why? Because what do you mean by Gadol? What did you say? As many of you said, in stature. Rav Moshe Feinstein, those of us that come from New York, America, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, the Gadol in America and the world. He really, around the world, everyone looked up to Rav Moshe. Everyone. So he was the Gadol Hador, standing at how tall? Approximately 5 feet. So he was a Gadol, and the answer, of course, he was the Gadol. Because what? We don't mean Gadol in size, we mean in stature. So what do we mean by the word gadol when it talks about yam? Do we mean size or stature? So the Shulchan Aruch paskins it means stature. The Mishnah Brewer comes along and he says, "V'nikra Yam HaGadol Eretz Yisrael." It is part of Eretz Yisrael. So that chashivas, that importance, we give it the stature of Yam HaGadol. Aval habei achronim, many argue, pligal machabashir, the davka ayam okeanos. What's okeanos? Oceans. Shu ayam hagadol shebachol yamim, the oceans. Shemakifet kol halam. That sounds, hakafos, that surrounds the whole world. Allah, that's the bracha that gets, that's the seed that gets its own bracha, and you don't stick with the standard osama celebrations. Osama is the standard bracha for yamim. Which one goes out of that category that becomes Yam HaGadol? Shulchan Aruch passes like the Rambam, that the stature, that's Yam HaGadol of the Mediterranean. While the Mishnah Berurah seems to paskin, Yam she'over b'Eretz lo nikra Yam HaGadol inyan zeh, it's like other ones. Okay? So it sounds like he's leaning towards that shita. Okay? That you would not say Yam HaGadol. So when I go to the ocean, when I'm zochah to go to the ocean, I used to go to the harbor down the block for the ocean, so that was a real treat. And then when I got married, went to my grandmother's house on the ocean, house on the ocean, master bedroom over the ocean, dining room over the ocean, living room over the ocean. It was just a crazy dream until Hurricane Sandy took it away. Until the state, it's not still. It's just an empty lot. It's just the beach goes up till that area now. So anyways, that was a dream. Beracha, pretty close to the ocean as well. Now a little bit further away. So when you get there, I say Osem Masa Bracious. Why? Because it's a suffix brachos, and Rabbi Yashiv says everyone agrees you yotze with Osem Masa Bracious. Osem Masa is the basic bracha. The enhanced bracha is Yam HaGadol, but we don't know, is that for the oceans or is that for the Mediterranean? So out of the suffix, and Mishmur seems to say it's Osem Masa Bracious, that's what I personally do. If someone has a minhag like Shulchan Aruch to say Osem Yam HaGadol, keep your minhag. Anyways, that's part one. We have to continue Mr. next week in terms of the Kinneret, Dead Sea, where do all these fit in? And Mitzvah Hashem, the land should be open again soon. We have to travel freely again soon. Our enemies should be blotted out soon. Mitzvah Hashem will become a Lachal Maisa from every Amena. Okay, Shkaya. My pleasure as always. As always, be well.